What's up, y'all? Anderson Emerald here, back to talk about Letsile Tebogo opening up his season, just like we saw Kashane opening up in the 60-meter dash. Now we get an announcement, Letsile Tebogo, Olympic gold medalist in the 200-meter dash. He's opening up his season outdoors, though. In late March, he's going to be going down to Australia in Melbourne. The first time he's competing in Australia, he's going to be running the 400-meter dash. This is extremely exciting. We saw what he did last year in the 400, and now we're getting a chance to see him open up his season. Listen, this is going to be great. So checking out this quick article on Athletics Australia, they say that one of the hottest names in global athletics is bound for the Marie Plant meet Melbourne, with Olympic champion sprinter Letsile Tebogo set to bring unrivaled speed and style to Lakeside Stadium on March 29th. Now, what's really interesting is that this is a little bit later for a season's opener for Letsile Tebogo. Last year, he actually opened up his season in February, where he ran that 300 meters, that world record 30.69 seconds. That was down in South Africa in Pretoria, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, apologies. So this is a little bit later, about a month later than what he did last year. But in the article, it continues. It says, confirming his start for the first World Athletics Continental Tour meet for 2025, Botswana's first ever Olympic champion will continue his meteoric rise when contesting the 400 meters in Australia. I'm excited to compete for the very first time in Australia and open my 2025 season at the Marie Plant meet as the Olympic 200 meter champion. So as I noted, Tebogo, he opened up his season in 2024, a little bit earlier in the year. If you remember, 300 meters down in South Africa, he blazed a path with that world record of 30.69 seconds, taking down the world record set by Wade van Niekerk all the way back in, 2017, I think that performance was, right? Then he followed that up just a month later on March 18th, still in South Africa, and he ran 44.29 seconds. That performance set the world on fire, where everyone was like, okay, Tebogo, and I think in that race, he was like chilling. He was pretty relaxed. That gave a lot of people an indication that Tebogo is a serious triple threat. But let's circle back to the article, and then I want to dive into his 400 meter prospects. In the article, it says, crowned World Athletics Male Athlete of the Year in 2024, Tebogo also owns a 9.86 second personal best over 100 and the fastest 300 meter time in history at 30.69 seconds, but it's a 400 meters in which he will stretch his iconic stride in Melbourne. So, like I was speaking about in a recent video where I was talking about the greatest combination 100, 200, 400 sprinters, I think we all agreed, and most of y'all in the comments agreed, that Tebogo is next up when talking about that exclusive club. 9.86 in the 100, 19.46 in the 200, 44.22 in the 400. He is well overdue for a sub 44 second clocking. But let's talk about, what the prospects of him actually breaking 44 seconds in this opener, what are those? So here it says, Michael Johnson's gold medal run of 43.84 seconds at the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games remains the best time ever clocked on Australian soil over the distance. But Tebogo is no stranger to history. After a scintillating anchor leg in the men's 4x4 relay in Paris assisted Botswana to Olympic silver, the limitless sprinter is ready to enter new territory in Melbourne. So 43.84 seconds. Is that a mark that Letsile Tebogo is going to be able to take down in this season's opener down in Australia? I don't know yet, but just to put things in perspective a little bit. Last year, like I said, 44.29 seconds, personal best, his 400 meter opener, the only 400 that he ran in 2024. That, I know on the surface, it may not be as strong of a performance, but when we look at that performance relative to other 400 meter athletes throughout the 2024 season, that was actually a pretty strong mark. For example, let me pull up the men's 400 meters that we saw from last year, which was a relatively deep event, pretty deep event for the most part, right? You're talking about guys like Quincy Hall, Matthew Hudson-Smith, 43.4 seconds, Samu Konga and Cronny James, Dream Richards, all of them ran 43 seconds in that Olympic final. All of them, I think, except for Dream Richards, actually ran 43 seconds on 2 occasions throughout the year, right? Quincy Hall, he did it a couple times, actually 3 times throughout the year. Hudson-Smith 3 times throughout the year. And then Samu Konga, he did it in Paris in the final. And then he also had done it, I think, at the Rome Diamond League as well. Cronny James, he did it in the semis and the final in Paris. So what am I saying here? That the 400 was extremely deep across the board. But where does Tebogo lie in terms of all-time 400 meter runners in 2024? He was number 15 in 2024. 15 with his 44.29 seconds. So despite all those guys throwing down those 43 seconds like candy, right? Just kicking it down under 44 seconds, Tebogo was actually top 15 in the world. That's a pretty good mark for the most part when talking about a competitive, 400. But even more importantly, what I love about Tebogo is what he did for Botswana. Historically, for Botswana, he actually moved himself up to number 6 all time for the 400 meters in Botswana history. You're talking about Isaac Makwala, of course, the GOAT for Botswana, one of the best 400 meter runners in history with his 43.72. Babaloke Thebe, he competed, I think it was at the 2017 World Championship Finals. He finished 4th place. He was a really, really strong 400 meter runner. Bapu Ndori, he ran extremely fast actually in 2024. He's been one of the more consistent 400 meter runners over the recent past couple years. Kebenat Shippey, he actually competed in the 400 at the Olympic Games, didn't make it to the final, but he had a strong performance. And Sibanda was also another very strong performer. He got 5th place at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. Then you have Tebogo. So you're talking about Tebogo ahead of current guys like Scotch, like Pesela, right? Some of these guys are currently competing, and Tebogo is already ahead of them. So this really proves that Tebogo is a very, very strong 400 meter runner, and he is just waiting to kind of break out from that, from that 44.29 that we all know he is very much capable of surpassing. Even more importantly here is what he did when talking about the relay. We all saw that 4x4 relay, the final leg, shout out to me, right? All that final leg between Tebogo and Rai Benjamin in Paris, where domination. Letsile Tebogo, 43.04 seconds on that anchor leg made him the second fastest 4x4 runner in history. The second fastest 4x4 split in history, 43.04. Who has the first? Michael Johnson, 42.94 seconds. That is the only person faster than Letsile Tebogo when talking about a 4x4 split. But even more importantly here, what I actually really love is that Tebogo has a couple fast 4x4 splits all time. And all of them are in 2024. 43.04 seconds in Paris. In the Paris semifinals, he actually ran, or in the heats, he ran 44.33 on the leadoff leg. Running 44.3 or 40, anything below 44.5 is extremely fast on an opening leg of a 4x4. Very fast. Don't think that you need to run 43 from the blocks. That's not easy, but 44.3 on the opening leg. On top of that, in the Bahamas at the World Relays, Tebogo split 43.7, and he also split 43.49 seconds. So at the end of the day, we clearly know that Tebogo is more than capable of running sub 44 seconds in an open race. Yes, the 43 second splits, those are on a relay, but those give some clear indication that he is more than capable of going sub 44 seconds in the open 400. On top of that, the 44.29 that he ran as his season's opener on March 18th in 2024, that he was clearly a lot more relaxed than you would have expected from, someone who's really, really pushing it. And for him to drop a time like that held up as top 15 top 15 in 2024 amongst a very, very competitive year, that means that he has a lot more to go. So, do I think that he's actually going to break 44 seconds when we get to the, to the meet in Australia down in Melbourne for season's opener, March 29th? Possibly. I could probably predict he can run anywhere from like 43.8 to like 44.2 once again. It of course depends on how much effort he actually chooses to put out. One thing that's really important, now circling back to the article, he said, quote, "I'll be stepping up to the challenge of the 400. Starting the season with this long distance challenge will set the stage for what's ahead. I'm ready to push my limits and make every moment count." What this kind of tells me is that, like he said, he's setting the stage. He's starting the season with a 400, just like he did last year with the 300 and the 400, and is probably going to use it as a little training block, to prepare him for the rest of the year. Seems like he's probably going to be going into focusing on the 100 and the 200, as opposed to looking forward to really focusing in on the 400 all throughout the year. I did speak with Tebogo's coach for a little bit while I was in Brussels at the Diamond League final, and he was kind of saying that after the Olympic Games, his whole crew between Tebogo, Ndori, and all the other guys, they put all their effort into the Olympic Games, and they were kind of training over the past couple years specifically for the Olympics. They performed there, Tebogo in the 200, and then the rest of the guys in the 4x4. Now they're kind of like, diving back into things, not stepping back, but really preparing for almost like another Olympic cycle. So I don't know if he's going to be focusing in on the 400 this year, maybe in a future year, 2026, 2027, we'll see. But I do think that this 400 here, I think he could run sub 44 seconds, but depends on if he actually goes all out. He's more than capable of running that 43.8 that Michael Johnson has, but I do think that he'll probably run around 43.9. That's probably my prediction. Who knows at the end of the day what he'll run. He could run 44.3 seconds and then, way slower than what he did last year. Also, just for context as well, this is his season's opener. So even though this is slightly later than what he did last year, right? Last year was March 18th where he ran that 44.2. This year it's March 29th. But remember, he had already run that 300-meter world record of 30.69 in February of the year. So he'd already kind of gotten things started up. So I want to put those in context, want to make sure that we're again, managing and, tapering our expectations, very similar to what I said last year after he broke the 300-meter world record. Let's not predict, you could predict whatever you want, but I don't think he's going to run like 43.5 in his season's opener or something like that. I don't know if he's going to do all that, but I think he is more than capable of getting to a 43.8. Letsile Tebogo is a once-in-a-generation talent. I don't know. In my opinion, I think that at some point, whether it's this year, whether it's in 2027, 2028 at the Olympics, I think Tebogo is going to be able to win a sprint double, 100, 200, maybe even a 200, 400 at some point. I think that's going to happen in our lifetimes, in upcoming championships, just because he has so much talent. Only 21 years old. He's turning 22 years old this year. He's one of the youngest athletes who's really at the upper echelon, who's already, been able to stand on top of the podium. Gold in the 200 in 2024, silver in the 100 at the 2023 World Championships, and bronze at those World Championships as well. I don't know, but super excited to see Letsile Tebogo opening up with another 400 down in Australia, down with his teammates. Let me know what you think Tebogo is going to be able to do in this 400. Do you think he's going to break 44 seconds? Do you think he's going to run like 44.4 or something crazy like that? Or do you think he's going to kind of keep it relaxed, 43.3 or slower or something like that? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Be back again next time. Thanks for watching, y'all.